Hi, welcome back to Golf Training Hacks. The Romanian Deadlift, the RDL, is a great exercise for golf. It does several things. First, it trains your back to keep your spine in a neutral position. And when your spine is in a neutral position, it can best buffer force. And there's a lot of force in the golf swing, as we know, so you really want to keep that spine on that baseline of neutral as much as you can. When you get off that baseline too much, you're risking back injury. The other thing that the RDL does, it really strengthens your hip complex, your glute complex. And that's so important for golf. And that's really important throughout the golf swing, and especially at impact, when you're driving this foot into the ground and you're extending into impact. And don't forget, when you're coming around with a lot of rotational force that has to be stopped, and this leg has to drive into the ground so that your ankle, knee, hip, and shoulder are in one line, and this leg is driving back. Your hips are going back in the golf swing. So at impact, when you are in the impact point, this leg is coming out of compression and extending and driving back and up. So that's the movement. On your backswing, this rear leg is driving into the ground and moving back as it rotates. So actually the movement is back. The RDL really works your hips in this backward hip hinge movement that you need in golf. And as you're hip hinging and rotating, your back stays in a neutral position. So what is a Romanian deadlift? Well, it's actually the top of the deadlift. So I'm going to demonstrate it with this light bar. And I'm going to start by turning my side to you, because that's really where you're going to see where a Romanian deadlift is. So what you need to do in a Romanian deadlift is keep your shoulders engaged. So this bar is going to just drag up and down my pants, and my hips are going to go backwards. Now I'm going to keep my knees at a very slight angle. So they're not stiff, I'm just bending them a little bit. And that angle that I start with is the angle I want to keep through the whole exercise. So I want to establish a neutral spine, some extension in my lower back, some flexion in my T-spine, and a little bit of extension in my cervical spine. So I set my back position, I bend my knees a little bit, and now the movement is backwards. Hips go back, so I'm engaged, the bar is engaged onto my legs, my shoulders are back, my hips are going back, and I'm keeping this neutral spine all the way down and up. I'm not so worried about going down that far. It's only to where I can go. So neutral spine, hip hinge back. The knee angle that I started with is the knee angle I want to keep. I keep that neutral spine, and then I'll just do repetitions like this. Hips go back, hips go back, hips go back, spine stays neutral, and then I come up. So that's the technique of a Romanian deadlift. So classically, the Romanian deadlift is done with a barbell and plates. As I said, it's actually the top of a deadlift. So I'm not going to go into the deadlift right now, but I'm just going to deadlift this bar up, and then I'm going to do a Romanian deadlift once it's in the right position. So I'm going to deadlift this bar up. So I have the bar against my legs, my shoulders are engaged, I bend my knees just a little bit, they stay bent at that angle, and now my hips go back, hips go back, hips go back. I keep that neutral spine and come up. Hips go back, the bar is engaged, hips go back, hips go back, hips go back, and up. So that's a classic Romanian deadlift with a bar and plates. So classically, a Romanian deadlift is done with a bar and plates. So from the front, I'm going to just deadlift this up. So from the front, a Romanian deadlift looks like this. I have my shoulders engaged, the bar is rubbing on my pants all the way down, shoulders engaged, my back is in neutral position. Now my knees are slightly bent, my feet are about shoulder width, and I'm going down, my back stays neutral, and up. My knee angle doesn't move, stand all the way up. There's no shrug here, it's just standing up. Back stays neutral, knees stay at the same angle, and that's a Romanian deadlift in the front.